Because city attorney and look up what the service are gonna do.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have any space available.
No, so at the last meeting, I just provided clarification that the Safe Well Oxford Steering Committee is looking for any space that may be available that they could share with local service organizations that they may be able to utilize, not necessarily on a regular basis, but even on a casual basis to provide services locally. So it could be things like mental health and addiction support or counseling support or, support for people that are victims of domestic violence, things like that. I'm not sure that we have any space that would be appropriate for that, but I was asked to put it back on this agenda once that clarification was received.
Okay, so any comments? Just want to help where we can, but Councilor Yetman.
Well, I thought there was some mention made of Durham Center Hall in previous meeting, but there again, we've got volunteers that clean the hall and that would have to be covered somehow as well, right?
It's a little difficult when you don't have kind of specific question in front of you, like can we use full control for the night or something? Okay, anything further on that? All right, let's move on to information items, correspondence. 16 to 21.
Move to note and file.
Moved by Yipman, seconded by Way. Any discussion on any of those? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Bylaws and agreements. Moved by Brookner, seconded by Gillis. 8 to 11. Want to read those two?
Resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and that they be read a first and second time. Bylaw number 8, 2025, being a bylaw to amend Township of Southwest Oxford zoning bylaw for zone change application ZN 42416 for Press Transport Limited. Bylaw number 9, 2025, being a bylaw to amend Township of Southwest Oxford zoning bylaw for zone change application ZN 42413 for Middendale Farms. Bylaw number 10, 2025, being a bylaw to amend Township of Southwest Oxford zoning bylaw for zone change application ZN 42417 for Mount Ogden Developments Inc. And bylaw number 11, 2025, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works for the Vincent Municipal Drain. And that's first and second reading only.
Okay, so, moved and seconded, any discussion of any of those bylaws? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, that's carried. And third and final reading for the first three.
So moved.
Moved by Pickard, seconded by Durston. Bylaw number 8, 9, and 10.
Resolved that bylaws 8 to 2025 to 10, 2025 inclusive, be read a third time, tried and passed, and that the mayor and clerk are authorized to sign the bylaws and affix the witness seal.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yep.
Opposed, that's carried. New business? Nothing else, sir? Sure. I'm wondering, from what you're here, do we want to go into closed session first? Or do you want to receive the report? Or,
I don't have a report, so we can do council roundtable first if you want, but there is an open portion from the presentation today, and then there's a closed portion that is related more to the specific contract and technical details, so I think we started open and then.
Yeah, we would be okay doing just a closed session, seeing that this seems to be no audience.
yeah, I think we'll do this, well, let's do
We
the,
are online though.
we'll do the open session first, so, public, it's on the agenda, so, you don't mind starting 10 minutes early?
Not at all.
Okay, let's start 10 minutes early for the, appointment. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council staff. I really appreciate the opportunity to update you on what we have done over the last 3 months since we met before. I do have to apologize for my voice. It's pretty raspy. It's pretty rough weekend, but I'm feeling much better. But if I do crack up, it's not that I'm emotional, it's just that my voice is I wanted to let you know that over the last 3 to 4 months, we have continued to inform the community of Oxford, the greater community of Oxford, about our vision and our plans, but we also listened to the community. We heard a lot from the community. We had several meetings, some of them right at the turbines, where we openly invited community to see the wind turbines in Oxford County. Also, open meeting in other jurisdictions in Sora Township, where we opened ourselves to Q&A from the community. But we walked away from that also with some information, and it has influenced our plans and our vision in order to potentially think about, okay, would it be wise at this point in time to scale down the project size that we had envisioned for Oxford County and possibly the project location? So I wanted you to know that through these meetings, we have been receiving information, we have listened to that information. Of course, it continues to be our goal to advance renewable energy in Oxford County, but there's various ways of doing that, and we felt that maybe a smaller project would be a good way to start, because of the dynamics of what a large 200 megawatt project or so will bring to it. We are hoping to continue to gain greater acceptance through our media, social media and online presence. We are online, continue to inform the community on answers to the questions that we see online from the community. And we've been doing that consistently since September, where I'm not sure if anybody has come across the Facts Friday series that we're doing, where we answer questions that are coming to us openly to the community and inform interested community members of what we believe to be true and scientifically supported in those blogs that we are continuing to put online. We also explored agricultural alternatives because we are aware that agricultural land is very valuable. So I want the community and I want you to know that we're exploring different areas, different options. It's very difficult to find non-prime farmland in Oxford County, but there's even within the prime farmland, there's various levels of prime, like class 1, class 2, class 3 land, and we are aware of that, and we have continued to look into those areas. And then we explored also connection options. Initially, we thought that a larger project on a transmission line would be the way to go. Since then, we have also opened ourselves to explore direct connection options on 27.6 kilovolt lines in the smaller range of about 18 megawatts per project area. And again, that is just to show that we want to be flexible and we want to be responsive to the community. We continue to talk to First Nations about our project vision and to the community co-op as well. On the next slide, they're a little hard to see, but I have them in front of me. I hope you can read them too. What the area that we have selected, and I will show in the closed session very clearly what area, what land parcels we have selected for potential projects. What makes that attractive is, first of all, close to the 401 corridor, there is already a noise level, an ambient noise level of about 50 dB. And we know that these the turbines will rarely, if ever, reach that 50 dB noise level. In Ontario, on any receptor, you have to keep the noise at 40 or below, 40 dB or below. And I know between 40 and 50, it doesn't sound much, but it's a big difference. So we feel that the area that we looked at or that we are looking at right now, because of the ambient noise already in the area, is an interesting or good selection. We do value farmland and we aim to place the turbines away from class 1 prime land. It's not always possible to do that because of all the other layers of regulations and requirements that are given to any development of in the wind energy space, such as, distance away from houses, distance away from power lines, from roads and so on. So all of these play and factor into that. But it is our aim as much as possible to aim to put the turbines away from class 1 farmland. In any regard, we are required to put an agricultural impact assessment together to the satisfaction of the municipality. We have already commissioned that because we do realize that this is a requirement, and it's a good requirement to just make sure that we have and continue to look at alternatives to the class 1 farmland. The elevation in the area that we looked at later on, I will show some specific mapping about that. It shows that the elevation at that level is approximately between 315 to 325 meters in height, which is very comparable to Gunsill. The reason we look at elevation is just to gauge what might the wind conditions there in that area, and elevation has a lot to do with that. Of course, the contour of the land has to do with it as well. So these are the things we're looking at up front without having to put in a wind tower or wind cube measurements, which will come later. But initially, in our initial search for good areas where a project would work well economically, we're looking at the elevation of the land. We are making significant progress in securing the necessary land options in the area that I'm going to show you later on. We do have some land options already signed and other land options under lead stage consideration. So I'll show that. There is a potential for interconnection in the area that we're looking at on 2 connection points. I'll go into detail of that a little bit later. That is confidential information. The HONI even keeps that very confidential for various reasons, but we do have the information that we can share. And then the initial assessment suggests that the projects can be developed with minimal requirement for access roads. That's if you look at the area that's required for wind development, the largest area that we use is access roads. The turbine itself and the drain plant is fairly small. So when we, or if we maximize the use of, that's a strange thing to say, maximize the use of minimal access roads. So what I'm saying is that we're looking for locations where we have to put a minimal number of meters of new access roads. Again, not because of cost, it is really because of the farmland usage. We don't want to turn good farmland into access roads. And so we believe that in the project that I'm going to show you later, we have been successful in minimizing the amount of new access roads that would have to be built for that project. We are in partnership discussions with the community co-op, and we are in partnership discussions with the indigenous community. We have a very strong endorsement from the 6 nations of the Grand River that we're already partnering with in Gunsill. We had a meeting, and we are in the process of writing an indication letter that there's a strong interest on the part of the 6 nations of the Grand River. I just also want to, I think, one back, if you don't mind, just a quick picture. Thank you very much. That we are a local developer. We do, I know it's been contested, but we have a local office in Woodstock. We specifically located from Hamilton to Oxford County after we developed the Gunsill Wind Farm, because we know that Oxford County is where we would like to continue to develop. That's where we started, and we believe that there's still lots of good opportunities. We have local engagements. We had lots of local meetings around the wind turbines. Some really nice pictures there that show some of these events from the last fall. Just want to quickly touch on the economic benefits. And that's a reiteration. The local job opportunity due to construction and operation are significant, more so on the construction than in operation, because once the construction is completed, the operation does not take a whole lot of manpower to operate. But during the construction time, it is easily conceivable that we have up to 200 people working in the area, living in the area, like lodging in the area, using restaurants in the area, and supporting local businesses. Then there's the local investments through the infrastructure and the business opportunity for community to invest in the project. We have shown that on the Gansel Wind Farm, we've got 152 investors. More than half of those live actually in Oxford County. So those are investors that invest into the project. They receive revenues from the project through dividend distribution and interest distribution. And of course, that in some way translates into spending within the community. Then there's the tax revenues and the contributions to local government revenues through taxes and other financial contributions. We do strongly believe, and it's been backed up, that new energy, that wind energy is the cheapest new energy that you can build today. There's no other energy source that can come to that level of cost efficiency than wind energy. And I've said to my team, if we have to compete with all other energy sources on price, we definitely can compete on that. There's no question about that. And then the community benefits. We have proven for the last 7 years through the Gansel project that we have supported, for instance, the Hodges Pond development. We have poured approximately $280,000 into that project. But the amazing part of that is that those funds have been matched by federal and provincial funds, and there's over $1 million that have been spent in that area, with the Gansel Wind Farm being the largest contributor, private contributor to that. Actually, private and corporate contributor. But that has been, those funds have been matched by matching funds from provincial and federal sources. And the reason I'm mentioning these things is that's what we want to do in the future too. We want to partner with the municipality, with the community, to do community or funding of community work in the community that we built in. That is one of our goals. I think we've proven that we are doing it, and we're not just talking about it when you look at the project that we have already developed. We're also supporting the farming community. We realize that even so we need very little land for wind turbines, it's more than nothing. So we talked amongst our team and said, okay, if it's not avoidable to have even a small amount of land, how can we compensate for that in some way, shape, or form? I mean, the landowner gets their lease, that's out of the question, but the greater farming community also needs protection. And so what we want to do is we want to discuss with you, maybe your staff, if there is an organization that is known for farmland protection that we could support on an annual basis, kind of as a compensation for even so the little farmland that we are using. We don't know what that looks like right now, but we think that it would be good for us to invest in that area as well, in lieu of what a little farmland we might be using for the wind turbine development. I'll close this open session with talking just a little bit about the environmental benefits. I myself and continue to be more and more alarmed about the impact of the change in the environment is having on humanity. There's a lot of people that say this is nonsense, and the fires in California, that's just an event. But it seems to me that we see more and more events stacking up on each other on that, and some of them are no longer explainable by just a fluke event or by just weather. There is some climate impact on some of those events, And I'm getting concerned when I see that. So to us, we want to continue to be an environmental company. And in addition, this being a business, clearly, and I will never take away from that, but we are also an environmental company, and we want to acknowledge that if we can do something for the environment by producing a greater amount of renewable energy, then we want to be willing to do so. I just want to a large page summarize of what our goal is, where our heartbeat is. We want to work hard to gain your trust. We will engage in meaningful community consultation. We do have a consultation framework, but we said we don't want to just put that on the table and implement it. We really want your staff's input. We have had already some conversation with the planning department as well, but we also want to talk with staff and say, okay, if there's anything you want to add to this community engagement plan, we are willing to listen. We want to listen and hear what that might be, because we want to make sure that it's meaningful community engagement. We are fully committed to support the permitting process every step of the way. So if a municipality is supporting a new renewable energy project, there is so many permitting steps, and we want to make sure that we support that. We are following the direction of staff, we're following the direction of council when it comes to permitting. And I know there's rules that I don't know about and that you guys understand much better than I do, but I can assure you our cooperation in that. We want to take mitigation measures, as I mentioned, on farmland use in the development by supporting some organization, and I'll take advice for that. We have a couple that we have in mind, but we have not made any arrangements in that regard, but that we want to support to make sure that there's continued positive impact on the use of farmland. We want to provide continuous financial support for community projects in Southwest Oxford and Oxford County, such as we have done at Hodges Pond. And we would like to receive municipal support for the project after we provide all the required details. We are fully aware that there's, first of all, there's no opportunity right now to ask for municipal support. There's certain rules that don't allow us to do that until after a certain deadline. Right now, that deadline is no earlier than February 28th. It might change a little bit again. That's given by the ISO. And that's to make sure that council has the latest information that the ISO has released in regards to new projects. But we also want to make sure that we complete the phase 1 of the agricultural impact assessment to the satisfaction of council before we come back to council, and at a certain point in the future ask for a support resolution for a specific project after we were able to answer all of your questions. I thank you so much for listening to our update.
Okay, so is there any questions from council before we go into closed session?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Councillor Pickard here. Thank you for the presentation. The last comment you made about receiving municipal support for the project after providing the required project details. Now, I know you ran into a problem in municipality of Zora. As I understand it, they wanted to see the approvals at the provincial level before they ruled on that. Is that going to be the future of these presentations, that the province will be asked to go first with their approvals before you get local approval? So what would a stance like that mean to a project if Southwest Oxford were to take the same route as the municipality of Zora? Can you just enlighten us a little bit on that?
Yeah, there is no provision at all in the rules at this point in time for the province of Ontario to provide support. The province of Ontario is not, will not and cannot, and is not asked under the current conditions from the Minister of Environment, from the Minister of Energy, and from the ISO to provide support. The support lies solely with the municipality. in a case where a municipality would like the province to provide a support resolution first, it would stop the project. It's not possible to make an application for the procurement of the project without a municipal support resolution.
Okay,
That's where it stands currently.
yeah, thank you.
Any other questions before we go into closed session? Okay, then we need a motion to go into closed session, moved by Wade, second by Thurston. Going to